Hello and welcome to the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust webinar on financial and retirement planning. Take two, because I managed to forget to press record on the last one, which turns out was quite vital. So this is me redoing the session from about 40 minutes ago. I'll try and keep it as accurate as possible. There were no questions from the previous chat, so you shouldn't miss out on anything at all. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name's Mary Hemingway. I'm an independent financial advisor and I'm also married to a gamekeeper. So I have about 10 years experience in both finance and living a keeper in lifestyle. I saw the results of the Raise the Game survey from GWT and thought that I could help with the retirement planning aspect of that. So I'm just going to start this brief session with the outcomes from the Raise the Game survey. So I'm going to screen share over to YouTube where we can look at the outcomes from Ruth. Bear with me.
Everyone at the core base of the trust has got personal experience of the keeper and their lifestyle and being a keeper's family. We're all either the partners of keepers or the children of keepers, or some of us have actually been keepers ourselves. So the basic results about lifestyle weren't a surprise to us. More than a third of respondents told us that they were interested in information to help them manage tiredness. Around a similar number were interested in information to help them look at a better work-life balance and to help them look at how to get more time away from work. Let's have a look at some of the basic results. Lots of these things are likely to have been that way in these jobs for a long time now, but the tools and techniques that people use to deliver those jobs have changed over time. We use new scientific knowledge, new information to make changes in the jobs. We use new tools and techniques to take care of ourselves as well. We know more now about how the brain and body works than we ever have done before, and we use that information in our lives to take care of ourselves. We know now that not getting enough time together can have a negative impact on the family. We know that it takes an adult around 4 days to unwind on holiday, so if you're not getting away from work, you may never really be unwinding properly. For people in an active job, it didn't surprise us that over 70% of respondents felt that their physical health was above average. Over half of the respondents drink alcohol regularly, but 70% of those are drinking it within the safe weekly recommended limits. 2/3 of the respondents still smoke, and over half of the respondents eat the recommended 5 fruit and veg for half the week or more. That's just some of the headlines of the survey. There's a lot more meat in there for us to work with and develop our support for you. So thanks to everyone who completed the Raise the Game survey. the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust has a clearer picture of the issues that are having the biggest impact on you and what support and information you're looking for, and we're working hard to provide it for you and your family.
There we go. So that was Ruth Kerr from the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust giving us an outline of the Raise the Game survey and its outcomes. So just to pick a couple of points out of that, I think it was really, really clear that, and it goes without saying, that gamekeepers, stalkers and gillies, you work really, really hard, physically, mentally, the hours you put in. You've often started this vocation from a very young age. This job has maybe been going on for several generations in your family already. It's often something that you're born into. You deserve a really comfortable retirement is what I'm trying to say at the end of that. If you retire at age 60, 65, you could easily have another 25, 30 plus years of retirement to enjoy, and you deserve to enjoy it. That being said, there are obviously concerns. From that survey, over half of the respondents wanted information on retirement planning. Over a third want to plan for housing in retirement. And 68% of people are in tied housing, and over half are not in a position to buy a home to retire to. So I'm a retirement specialist. I help individuals get retired, and gamekeeping, stalkers and gillies are in a unique position where their costs are probably going to increase in retirement, which is the opposite way around to most people. It's purely because of the employment benefits you generally get with this type of work, the tied housing, vets bills being paid, council tax being paid if you're lucky enough. So there's going to be this much extra cost on top of your normal everyday living in retirement. But unfortunately, unlike everybody else that I work with, it's quite often put on the back burner. It gets left. It's something that you start much later than you should, actually thinking about it. So this really brief talk is to give you some good pointers to start your retirement planning and some really key tips to bear in mind when you're actually starting to do this sort of work. And primarily, it's to introduce you to the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust Retirement Planning Guide, which I have put together over the last few weeks. And again, I'm going to screen share it with you because this will be a first sneaky peek. This will be available for download via the GWT website. It can also be emailed out to you, and I'm sure there will be some physical copies made available too. So once I saw the Raise the Game survey, I was really concerned, and I thought I'm in a unique position to understand the individual finances of gamekeepers, and use my professional knowledge to help address that and give something back to the community. So on a voluntary basis, I've put this guide together in the hopes that it'll help a few of you get retired, really, or give you some good knowledge. It's a really comprehensive guide. You can dip in and out of it, and I'm going to do a quick scan through it now because I'm really excited and I'm really pleased that this is available to you all now. So the first part is breaking retirement planning down into 3 key steps, which we're actually going to cover off in just a moment. Really straightforward and some good starting points for discussion there. Also information on where to get help with your retirement planning. Some really good information there about understanding pensions, which I'll also touch on in just a moment. Pensions are a really key part of your retirement planning. There's some information here about the tax benefits relating to pensions, how workplace pensions differ to personal pensions, how to invest a pension, which is really interesting if you're into that sort of thing. And as you get closer to retirement, how do you access a pension sort of tax efficiently? What are your options there? Again, all really, really important stuff. We've got some frequently asked questions, which I've encountered quite a lot, and some answers there and some further guidance. And then at the end, there is a fictional example of Jack, who's a 40-year-old gamekeeper, and his wife and 2 children, and how sort of the basic retirement planning process works there. So that is the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust Retirement Planning Guide, put together by me and available through GWT completely free of charge. So please look through it, dip in and out of it. I'll try and keep it refreshed as regulation changes as well. So next, I wanted to cover off with you how to start your retirement planning and sort of a few tips on how to do that. So key is start early if possible. I appreciate it. It's often not something you think about until you're approaching retirement, and that's not unique to this environment or this vocation. Most people approach retirement planning much too late in my experience, unfortunately. So really key is start early. If that's sort of past already, encourage others to start early whenever you get the chance. Okay, it's never too late to start, but start as soon as possible. And I just wanted to illustrate that with a quick slide. So I'm going to screen share again with you, if you bear with me one moment. Here we go. So this is a really quick illustration of the difference in saving £100 a month and how starting early can make a big difference. Okay, so what we have on the left-hand side column is if you start saving £100 a month at the age of 25. Okay, so this is usually well before most people start retirement planning, but it shows what a difference it can make. You should have a workplace pension if you are 25, so this isn't unreasonable. So you can see the blue column. If you save £100 a month, starting at 25 all the way up to 60, you will have paid in £42,000, so it soon adds up. But if you've received 4% interest, the actual value of the pension will be just over £90,000. That's because of something called compound interest or compound growth, which means that over the period of time, the longer you have something invested and the longer it is accruing this growth, the more growth it gets. So you can see if you start at 25, you'll have received over £48,000 in interest, so free money. Okay, add that to your £42,000 that you've put in, and that's how we get to the over £90,000 in the pot. Compare that to starting at 35, so it's only a 10-year difference. 35 is still very young. If you start putting in £100 a month at 35, you'll only pay in 30,000, but look at the difference in your pot size. It will only grow to about 51,000, and you'll receive much less growth. So that early 10 years accounts for a huge amount of growth further down the line because of this compounding effect. And then we compare that to actually starting at 45, which even then, that's still not that old. Not for retirement planning, certainly, but you can see what a difference that makes. You don't receive anywhere near the amount of compound growth. So lesson number 1 is start early if possible and encourage others to start early. Underkeepers, children, grandchildren, whatever it may be, please encourage people to start thinking about this. Take the time to really plan this out. Talk to your partner, if you have one, and work out what you actually want in retirement. Retirement can look so different to lots of different people. Often it will be transitioning from full-time work to maybe sort of part-time or casual work. You might be doing beating or loading. But sometimes you might just want to stop altogether, and that's fine, or a mixture. But what's important is that you plan it and you agree, because you could have totally different expectations of this happening. Also, when do you want to retire? This can be fluid. You're not fixed to this date in any way, but have an idea in mind, and also think about what happens if I physically can't go that long. So if you say, "Oh, it's fine, I'll work till I'm 70," will you? Is that actually feasible? Will your health sustain that? Will you have a job at that age? It's all very well and good saying, oh yeah, I'll work till whatever age. What if you're not employable by that stage? What if your current estate is no longer functioning and you can't get another full-time job elsewhere? That's the sort of competitive marketplace that we're in sometimes. So having a backup plan is a really good idea too. But key to that is having a structure in place, okay, but keeping it flexible. Once you've worked out your rough plan, work out what you have in place at the moment. So that's your income, your expenditure, but really, really crucially, track down any of your old workplace pensions. I see so often that people have said, oh, I've only got a couple of £100 or £1,000 in X pension. I only worked with them for a few months. That's your money. There's a couple of £100 or £1,000 of your money that's left somewhere that you're not bothered about. It's really crucial. Track them all down. In the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust guide, there is a link to the government tracing website, which can help you trace down workplace pensions that you've had. Important as well, I know if you're moving for different jobs, keep your pension providers up to date on where you live. They will send you out paperwork every single year. They can't do that if they don't know where you live. So keep that up to date if possible. Okay. Once you know what you've got, then you can start to plan for moving forward and how to get to where you need to be. Okay. A couple of other key points to cover off. Don't assume that you'll be given a house or work or anything like that when you retire. I've seen quite a few keepers fall foul of this, and they I've assumed they have a gentleman's agreement with the estate owner that, oh, I'll be able to stay in the keeper's cottage once I've retired, only to have that offer removed when they come to retirement. So if there is one of those agreements in place, make sure it's written down legally, okay, but always have a backup plan. Okay. So we're going to touch on pensions a little bit now. Pensions have a lot of sort of mystery surrounding them, and they're not that mysterious, to be honest. Just think of them as a savings pot, okay? It's a pot of money that you can pay into, and then you can access once you're 55. That's the only difference. You don't have that instant access that you maybe would do with a bank account. There are lots and lots of benefits for using a pension to save into, rather than sort of another savings account. Okay, and I'm going to illustrate one of those points just now by screen sharing again with you. Here we go. So what we have here is an illustration of money passing through a pension. All right. So let's say you have £80 in cash, or in your bank account, or your savings account, wherever it is, you've got £80. By paying that £80 into a pension, into a personal pension, that would immediately be increased to £100. You'd get £20 back from the government in the form of tax relief, basic rate tax relief. Okay, so now you've got £100 in a pension. Fantastic. There is no investing happening here. This is all in cash. Okay. When you come to take it out of the pension, you get £25 of it. It's completely tax-free, 25% tax-free. Then you would pay £15 tax on the remainder. So you would end up with £85 altogether. So this is a really, really simple illustration. £80 in cash, you pay it in cash, into a pension. Because of the tax relief, it increases automatically to £85. And this could be done very quickly. As I said, there's no investment return involved in this. This is just keeping cash, but using a pension as, we call it a tax wrapper, okay? So it's using the tax rules available to you to increase the money that you have. Hopefully, this sort of middle stage here, you will have invested wisely and it will grow into more. So you would end up with more at the other end, but this is a really simple illustration of how money moves through a pension, okay? and that makes them a really, really tax efficient vehicle for saving for your retirement. Okay, so you can access them from the age of 55. Next tip is diversity. So picking a really diverse investment. There's a lot of good information on this in the guide, which I showed you earlier. But I'm going to expand on that a little bit, because when I say diversity, it doesn't just mean picking a diverse investment for your pension. It means having diverse methods to plan for your retirement too. So a lot of people focus on getting a house, owning a house for retirement, which would be fantastic. But you still need money. Okay, you may be living rent free in your own home, which is brilliant, but you still need an income. You need to pay the bills. So just having a house isn't going to keep a roof over your head, really. Vice versa, you'd need a very large pension to actually support rental and to support your full income. So having diverse streams of income is really important. So by all means, if you're able to, get a house for retirement, but also save well and save into a pension if you can. And then work if that's what you want to do too, because that will also reduce the burden on any investment or any house that you have. So it's this diversity in income streams as well, which is really, really important. And last key point there is, in pensions, you can never save too much. Okay, the money is yours. Workplace pensions aren't really linked to your employer. It's not their money, it's your money. Once they've paid their contribution into it, that's your money to do with as you see fit. If you are not able to spend all of the money in your pension, fantastic, that's a brilliant problem to have. You can pass that money on to your spouse or to your children, grandchildren, whoever it may be. The pension doesn't die with you, so you can never have too much in there. Okay. And then the last slide I'm going to show you is when I screen share, bear with me. You'd think I know how to do this now, because I've just been through this twice. There we go. Is where to ask for help with your retirement planning. There are a lot of fantastic resources out there. Everybody retires, hopefully. Everyone gets to that stage in their life. So there are a lot of resources for people that are approaching it in different ways. Money advice service is brilliant. There's a lot of guides on their calculators, which are really, really useful, and you can speak to them. PensionWise offer free meetings for over 50s. They have really, really well qualified advisors, in my experience. They can't provide you with individual advice, but they can really, really help you to understand what you have and what you can do with what you have. Unbiased is a register of financial advisors in your local area that can help you with financial planning. And lastly, there you have all of my contact details. So as I said right at the beginning, I am an independent financial advisor, which means that I'm qualified and regulated to provide bespoke advice to people. So I can assess your situation, learn more about you and where you want to go with your retirement or whatever financial need it is. And I can put in place a bespoke plan, and I can say, this is what I advise you to do, okay? And then put that in place for you and keep on top of it and make sure that it's going in the right direction. I offer a completely free initial meeting, but what I would say as well is, please don't ever be shy. Please don't be scared to just get in touch and ask a question. I'm more than happy to share any knowledge that I can with you, okay? If we decide that you need full financial advice, if that's appropriate, then we agree a fee up ahead. But don't ever be worried about asking a question or just getting in touch to run something by me. I'm more than happy to help in that respect. So then the next slide, just to show you quickly, these are my regulatory information. I'm an advisor for a company called Truly Independent, which is a network of around 50 or 60 financial advisors up and down the country, and their regulatory details are there. Okay, none of this presentation can be taken as financial advice, because to do that, I need to assess your individual needs. But this is just guidance, and it's true as of today's date. So I just need to share that with you. There we go. So yeah, that's a whistle-stop tour. For the second time, because I forgot to record the initial one. Hopefully I've not missed anything out, but as I said, please do get in touch if you have any questions at all. Start this retirement planning as soon as possible. Make your aims clear, keep checking on the progress, track down all of these little bits of pensions, because if you don't know where they are, then you'll lose them, and it's your money at the end of the day. And yeah, happy retirement planning, everybody, and hopefully speak to you soon. Take care.